Mark, the follower of Peter, must have wrote before Luke because tradition tells us that Luke used some of Mark's material. Right? Let me run away from this chain of custody. Okay, the seats. I told you all that, and let run away from there, and then I'll close. I'm giving you a classic example. Some people say, because of the apparent contradictions, were the two angels, they're the two? No, one angel. Was Judas hung himself, or Judas burst open and fell up from the cliff? Were the two Marys, or one Mary? Was the Passover before the Passover? She was dead, or after the Passover? Now, these are the apparent contradictions that, in fact, Dr. Shabir Ali wrote a book on 101 contradictions in the Bible, and it was successfully answered by Christians. I'm looking at the thing about the Titanic, the unsinkable ship. The Titanic, the unsinkable ship. Follow the Titanic, compared by myself. It sank on its maiden voyage from Southampton to New York on the night of the 14th April to the morning of the 15th April in the North Coast Atlantic Ocean. How did the unsinkable Titanic sink? How did that unsinkable Titanic sink? Let's look at eyewitness account of the survivors. Some of the survivors said the ship sank in one piece. Some of the survivors said, no, the ship broke in half. Did the Titanic really sink? The truth of the matter is, though there were contradictory statements from eyewitnesses, the survivors from the Titanic, the fact remains, the unsinkable Titanic sank. Finding the Titanic. Dr. Bob Bullard discovered the Titanic in 1985. What did he find? 73 years later, up till London 1985, before he discovered the wreck of the Titanic on the ocean floor, it was believed that the Titanic sank intact in one piece. Up till 1985, 73 years after, he found the ship broken apart. Let's conclude there. Now, 100 years later, on the 11th of April 2011, which marked the anniversary of the Titanic, Richard Whitehouse, a mechanical engineer, marine force and specialist and a professor of computer technology, says that after the Titanic hit an iceberg, it initially tore at the bottom before breaking apart. How did he come to the conclusion? It says causing 30,000 tons to lift out of the water, causing the structure to fall. As the stem fails back, leaving the bow begins to pull the stem right. So, harmony of the conflicts. The extent to which each survivor could see the Titanic sinking would have depended on his or her location. In that case, the apparent conflicts in the survivor's testimony, especially the conflict between those who said that the ship broke into two and those who said the ship went down intact, could be explained, and the credibility of all the survivors could be restored. The World Trade Center, 9 September 2001. There's a conspiracy that the US government staged it. Bin Laden seems to take the responsibility. The World Trade Center did collapse. Whether it was the Muslims or whether it was a USA conspiracy, I'm not here to debate that. But what I'm here to say is, though there's a conflict of how the World Trade Center, Twin Towers came down, the fact remains that it came down. Okay, thank you very much. And those of you who want to keep in contact with me and want a copy of the details, I know it's very hard for you to take down. I can send the notes to IPCI, or if you have this thing, we can sort it out.
What we're thinking, since Pastor Isian has been dealing with the subject of the authenticity of the Bible and the authenticity of the authors of the Bible, etc., we may give you some opportunity to ask him any questions. And inshallah, we would speak tomorrow as time is not on our side. So, Pastor, or even if you got any questions to some of you, it's the first time in your life you can speak to a professional pastor who knows something about Islam and Christianity. So while he's here, take advantage of it and ask him some questions, and he will respond to you. Okay. So I think we can give you about 15 minutes for that.
Give me some, please.
Choose. Sure.
Let me put your mind at ease. As I told you, as a Christian, I'll tell you what I believe and why I believe. And at this point in time, this is what I believe because I did extensive research. Okay? And if you have some questions that bugging you, maybe I didn't even think of that question. You're going to help me to do the research. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid because we're a pastor with a Christian apologist. No. We can learn from each other. I have learned a lot in dialoguing with each other. Okay, I've read Mulana's book about the Mecca and the Bible. I've read his book on sin and salvation and Islam and Christianity. Okay, what I'm saying is, so don't be shy. Ask, because you'll be helping me, and maybe the question that you ask, if I can answer you, then I'll be helping you. Because it works two ways. Yes.
Why are not Muslims?
That's a different subject altogether. I saw somebody here wearing a T-shirt saying there, "I love Jesus, and that's why I'm a Muslim." Who's that?
Jesus.
His name is Jesus.
Sorry?
His name is Jesus. He went up.
Okay, I need to take a photo of that. Fine. Okay. Good question. Because many of the questions I have will be answered. Now let me just show you something quickly, right? Quickly. There's two apples here, right? Then you ask me to take one. Look at the two apples, and I show you this one. Now you ask me now why I didn't choose that one.
Yes, he asked for the reason.
Why I don't choose that one? Okay. And I can say, I can tell you, from this I can't see, which I can see here. This actually has a problem. Which you can't see. Okay. I'm very reluctant. I'm very reluctant to engage with people like you who are just learning, okay, to answer such questions that you asked me because you get offended. If I speak to Mulana and tell him why I'm not a Christian, he understands. We have a lot of dialogues, and then he won't get upset, okay? Because in your Quran it says there's no compulsion in religion, and even in the Hadith it says you can go your way, I go my way. There's not a problem. But we making an issue.
I have a question that if it is registered that all the Gospels were written after the death of Jesus more than 50 years, or more or less. So, what is the point of view of the Christian scholars, presidents, so to defend, you see, that those are the word of God. In spite of this, we have to, what you can say, two statements. We know that these were written after a long time of the death of.
How long? How long we asked? We must ask the question.
You will tell me how long, but I'm asking about that.
Okay.
It was written. And the names of the authors were not known. And the four Gospels had a lot of contradictions. So
Okay. I know what you're getting at.
Yeah.
I just spoke to you about that if you paid attention. Okay? And I told you about oral traditions. Okay? You got 50 years. I showed you where in 70 AD the temple was destroyed. Jesus in Mark and Luke predicted the temple will be destructed. Okay? None of the gospel writers write about that. None of the New Testament writers write about that. If in their lifetime, if that was destructed in their lifetime, surely they would have penned it down. The very fact they don't pen it down, so I showed you on the timeline that the latest go is about 60 AD, okay, just before Paul and James and Peter died. And I also showed you that why, as we go on the timeline towards the cross, why it is reasonable to believe that this is when the Gospels were written. Secondly, your other question was the time period. Now I don't want, this was I don't want to correct, say now the Hadith. How do you know the Sunnah of the Prophet? How do you know? Because the only book that you can read beside the Quran, which has little about it, is the Hadith. When was the Hadith compiled? About 200 years later, the time span. But what did the people depend upon? Oral tradition, like I showed you on my slide, chain of custody. All right, and you call that oral tradition, that what do you call that, Mulana? Passing down?
Yes, the links.
Sorry?
The link.
The link. Now, but what do you think in Islam, Arabic?
Sanad.
Yeah. Okay. So it was passed down. We don't doubt that. As I said, the only time you would not accept the hadith as authentic, paka, is when it contradicts the Quran.
The question is because I was actually comparing this to because you refer to it as the oral history and how things used to propagate in ancient times. And in Islam, for example, for hadith, we have a very well-structured way of giving authenticity to the hadith, and it's not only that it's not only one person to one person. It's basically people witnessing, and there are different ranks of hadith. And if a hadith, for example, in Islam has a chain like this one, I'm not sure about the details of it. We would consider it not even as a strong hadith, and we would be very careful what we can accept and what we should not accept. I'm sure that you're not sharing everything.
No,
because time doesn't allow. But
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right. When oral tradition came, it wasn't like the telephone came. Like, for instance, the skeptics, agnostics, they criticize the Quran hadiths, okay, which I have discussed it with a friend at times, okay? And it's not like the telephone game. Okay? You whisper something over here, you whisper there, by the time it comes around over there. When I said to you, I had pork today,
Yeah.
you said, no, you told me you had a pork. Okay? And it goes on there, he said, no, he said he had a rock.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is what happened in
Okay.
Yeah.
Right now, just like that deed, it was not just one man to one man, it was a group of people.
Exactly.
And what the hadith is saying now, of all the group of people, I found this one,
Yes.
okay, with a chain of references, and it is there.
Yeah.
And same with the connection to the Quran. Okay, with the connection to the Quran, okay, he said Zayd, said he do it. They were Zayd. Sorry, Zayd, do it right. And then he went about collecting it. But you only one there. He was not assuming that. I hear what you're saying, but unfortunately.
So it was a group of people, because we know the names of those group of people. For any hadith we have in Islam, we know the exact names.
Yeah, also.
The Bible, you won't have that names.
No, because I'm not assuming this. I'm asking because he might say.
As I said now, what I just did now, I gave the main characters,
Yes.
the prominent characters. See, even in Islam now, in the hadiths, okay, of all the hadiths, they read all the chain of custody there. Why would you take that particular person and not that? You understand? Because when Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, which are only authentic collection, right? They had to throw out over 2,000. They had to sift it out. So I don't know about all the details. Now then you come to this main characters. So this is that now I don't want to sift out. As I said to you now, there were other sources coming through. And what is the standard? The Bible. There were other things were coming through. What was the standard? The Quran. Now, if the hadith is not according to the Quran, then the Quran is correct, hadith is not correct.
We have
Right.
actually, I think we need to explain later.
Okay.
The subject will
Give me-
take more time.
Yeah,
You have to study
give me-
the- you have to
Give me a detail, take my address down, we'll talk.
Yeah,
Huh?
definitely.
Right, we'll talk. Right, I enjoy it.
Any other questions? Let me ask Pastor one question. Pastor,
Right, yeah.
the Gospels are Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John.
Yeah.
Now, John, one person by the name of John, he is sort of the disciple of Jesus.
Yeah.
But the author of John, many Christians think he's the exact same disciple of Jesus. But if you look at the internal evidence of the Bible, this is when you go into the field of hadith, sahih, and the field of biblical examination as well. Now, John himself was unlettered, unlettered according to Acts. So, what we know from today's modern day biblical sciences is that the author of John is not the exact disciple of John who lived with Jesus. It's actually a John who came sometime 90 or 80 years after Jesus. This is what Bible critiques say.
Yeah.
But there's many other Christian, normal laymen who think that the person who wrote John, because of his name John, is the disciple of Jesus. And this is not true. How do you look at something like that?
It's very simple. Okay. As I showed you, two people, the survivors of the Titanic. One group said the ship went intact. Other group said it split into two. Up to 73 years, when this ocean person found the Titanic, found it broken. Up to that time, they thought it was one piece. So then another man, after 100 years after the Titanic, found and gave a simple explanation. Okay? So same with the Gospel of John, I've heard those things, and as you said, Milana, it'll be time consuming to try, and I'm going to definitely send you an article that I did, hope it's on this stick of mine. If it's there, I'll give it to you. But it is, I know, because some say the beloved disciple is Lazarus. Okay? Some say it is not John the disciple because one of the elders mentioned two Johns and John the elder. So it may be somebody else. So we need to take all this, look in its context, look at what the Bible says, and then I am convinced it is the disciple of John. Because the thing.
Of John?
No, sorry, the disciple. Okay, the disciple of Jesus. Okay, I believe.
How do you answer my question to
Same thing as I said now. As I told you now, there is, I know about the theories. One said it was Lazarus, who raised his name from the dead because he was very fond of him and he was his beloved friend. And then, but then, when Jesus refers to my beloved disciple, it didn't refer. They said they didn't refer to John the disciple. They referred to Lazarus, whom he loved very much. And then some say no, not that John, not Lazarus, is the John the elder, because one of the church fathers wrote, and talking about John and John the elder. So there's a bit of confusion. But as you start the internal evidence, like the Titanic, will show you, Mulana Pandu, that it was not the apostle. It will show me that it was the apostle John, the disciple of Jesus, till we sit and give the reasons why I believe, which is another hour lecture, then you will have, but we will correspond. Okay.
Any last question on the subject? Yes, come on.
I want to know who's Paul.
Sorry?
Who is he? Paul.
Who is Paul? Oh. Who is Paul? Oh.
Okay, there is this conception that Paul